Hey guys, welcome to our Fireside Chat. Today we're going to be talking all about leadership with this fantastic book right here written by John C. Maxwell called Five Levels of Leadership. So make sure you go ahead and grab your cup of hot chocolate, sit by the fireplace, grab a nice book, and let's get started. So this book is all about really just the different levels of, well, leadership, you know, but really it's a lot more than that. It's about how to be an effective leader and how to be an effective leader on different levels, because not everyone is the same when it comes to leadership, and not every, job task has the same requirements for leadership. So really at the heart of everything that Maxwell is saying, is this diagram right here, you know, and again, this pretty much explains it all, but this is the five, the first level being position, then permission, production, people development, and finally Pinnacle. Now, a lot of people, actually pretty much everyone, it never achieves Pinnacle. And, personally, I think that's really an upsetting thing, because I think that more people should strive for it. Pinnacle is the level that you want to hit, because that's the level where people recognize you for respect. It's where people, it's where people see you for who you are, what you've done, and really just it's what you represent as a person. So, if you're not on that level, and again, Maxwell, I think he said it best, you're not on the same level of leadership with every single person. I know that when I start a new job, or when I've started a new job in the past, or when a lot of people get a new boss, they start off on the position level. The boss starts off with position. They have the title, they have a little bit of authority, but they don't have the leadership. There's a difference between being a leader and being a boss. A leader leads with influence. A boss is just, it's a title. It's when people do what you say because you have to. So, I just wanted to make that very clear. If you have a title in your company, make sure that you use it appropriately, because, again, that's the first level is position. But the second level, and this is, probably where I think a lot of people think they're a leader, but they're really just getting started. Level two is, again, it's permission. It's where people are following you because of what you want to do. And, or because of, it's where people follow you because they want to. And I'm going to go ahead and just kind of quote Maxwell here, but he says, people, not position, are a leader's most valuable asset. And, he goes on to say, permissional leaders can be taken advantage of. So, those two really important kind of contrasting things right there. People, not position, are a leader's most valuable asset. It's because if you utilize people correctly, and you utilize your team efficiently, you can get so much more done. That's why they say it's what duplicates, not what works. If you go into any McDonald's in the country, the hamburger is going to be made the same. The chicken nuggets are going to be made the same. Companies set standards because that's what duplicates. It's what gets things done well. So make sure you use your team effectively. Make sure that you be a leader effectively. Again, a lot of people, they become level 2 leaders. People follow them. It's because they want to. They're charismatic. They have what it takes to move up the leadership ladder, but they're not, progressing beyond level 2. So, make sure that you be charismatic, you be well-rounded, you go out there, you put yourself out there. You don't want to rely on your title. I remember back when I was in the Boy Scouts of America, worked my way up to Eagle Scout, very proud of that. But growing up, one of my personal mentors, one of my favorite mentors of all time, he was a huge influence on my life. To me, he was a level 5 leader because of what he represented for our organization, because of what he had done. He had my respect. But again, just because he had my respect, because he was a level 5 leader in my eyes, to someone else, he might not have been. He might have been a level 4 leader or a level 3 leader, and level 3, again, working our way up the ladder here, level 1 permission, or level 1 position. That's where a lot of people are given a title. They're put into the position. They'll use that title a lot of times to their advantage, but it's not being true leader. Level 2 is permission. It's where you're starting to get the hang of things. People follow you. You're charismatic. They want to work with you, And that's a great thing to be in. It's a great position to be in. Personally, I love it when people, want to work with me. I would never want to leverage my title. To me, when a leader walks in the room, you can feel it. They don't need the title. They don't need to say who they are. If someone is an effective leader, they can walk in the room and they can get things done without needing to say who they are, what their title is, this, that. Even at 9 to 5 job, I've worked retail a lot, and a lot of us, will have the same job class or the same title, but some of us manage to step up above the others. When we're given a task, there are those who manage and get things done effectively, and there are those who don't. And again, it's not a title thing. None of us have differentiated titles, but some of us are just more effective at getting tasks done. And again, the debate of whether leaders are born or made, the debate goes on. But personally, I would say that whether or not leadership is born or made, you have to grow into the position. You have to learn leadership. I think it's a learned trait to an extent. No one was born the CEO of a company. No one was born, knowing just how to be a leader inherently. They've had to learn traits. They've had to learn leadership. Some people have to work a little harder at it, but no one is just born a perfect leader. So this brings us to level 3, production. This is where people are going to follow you. They're going to want to, follow after you because of what you've done. This is, again, it's based on results. So to quote Maxwell here, he says, there are 2 types of people in the business community: those who produce results and those who give you reasons why they didn't. And actually, it's a quote from Peter Drucker. But, to me, that just speaks volumes. You can't build a reputation based on what you're going to do. It's great to have a vision. You have to have goals. That's a whole separate topic for another day, setting your goals, having goals, setting huge visions. But you cannot build your reputation on what you're going to do. People will only follow you for what you've done, for what you're doing, for the results. If you join a company and let's say it's commission based, I'm a huge fan of network marketing. So I know when I join a company, or if I look, to work with a team, the first thing I look at isn't the company. It's not the product. The first thing I look at is the leadership. To me, any company, any product is not necessarily great, but any company can be easy to market if you have a good team. Grant Cardone, the king of sales, the turnaround king, he can go out there, he can sell anything. And that's not because any particular product is great, but it's because he's a great leader. He knows his stuff. He knows what he's doing. He knows what he's saying. And he's an effective leader. He knows how to do his job. So, production is all about results. If you enroll 100 people in your company, or if you make $100,000 in sales, well, that's great. But if you can't duplicate that, if you can't get someone else to, enroll 100 people or to make $100,000 in sales, then you're not being an effective leader. People might like you. They might still follow you. They might still, want to work with you, but you don't have the results, and that's going to be a huge factor that's going to hold you back. So make sure that you put your nose to the grind and you get going. It's not just about delegation. It's not, practice what you preach. Make sure that you work hard, work 110%, because however hard you're working, if you're working a 40-hour work week and you're coming home at the end of the night, you're saying, wow, I worked hard this week. Yeah, you might have worked full time, you might have worked your 40 hours, but at the end of the day, there's someone else that's working 80 hours a week. There's someone else that's working 120 hours a week. It's just a matter of how bad you want to achieve your dreams, because I guarantee you there's someone else working, 3 times as hard. And if you work 120 hours a week instead of 40 hours a week, you're going to get 3 times as much done as the average person. So you're going to do in 4 months what someone else will have done in an entire year. So really just kind of think about that. How hard are you willing to work for your dreams? How bad do you want to achieve your goals? Do you want to be an effective leader? Do you want to, move up the ranks, or do you want to, just kind of sit and use where you're at as a crutch? So that's, it's huge. But the level 4 leader, this is a huge one, because to me, this is where, a lot of people get, but they never really move past it. Level 4 leader, this is people development. So this is where you're making a difference in people's lives, but you're not at Pinnacle yet. So you don't have the reputation, the respect. No one is going to, people aren't necessarily stopping you in the streets, or even necessarily level 5 leaders may not get that per se. But level 4 is all about people development. So this is where, I know I can say I've been there, a couple times in a couple organizations, and it's a great feeling to have, because you're changing people's lives. You've got the people development, you've got, you're seeing changes in others' lives again. Maxwell says it, again, he just says it best. Read this book. It really is just a fantastic book. But he says, be the team member you cannot go without on your team. So, be the model role member, practice what you preach again. If you want to change people's lives and you want to help other people change other people's lives, make sure that again, you give 110%. You're being a role model every single day. He says the upside is the potential of your organization just got greater, because now it's not just you producing results. Now it's you helping other people start to see results. It's you helping other people achieve their dreams, their goals. So now it's not about you. This is, to me, it's the heart of the leadership. The first 3 levels are good, because it gives you credibility, it gives you position, it gives you results, lets you get things done. But level 4 is where you're not just doing, but you're making a difference. And you're not making a difference in your life, but you're making a difference in others' lives. Again, to me, that's just, it's a fantastic thing to know that you've made a difference in someone else's life. So the downside is that it requires great levels of maturity, and it requires a lot of skill. Hot chocolate. It requires a lot of maturity and a lot of skill. They say it takes around 10,000 hours, or around 10 years, to become a master at anything. So unless you're willing to invest 10 years of your life into becoming an expert, Maxwell, he's an expert on leadership. Me, I'm devoting my life to leadership. Whatever it is that you're devoting your life to, make sure that you truly, truly are in it for the long haul. Because if you're expecting, results day one, and you don't get results day one, well, what happens? Your motivation starts to decrease. And I see it all the time. I've seen companies where, people come in as, again, network marketing. I've seen people build a team of 70 people in their first, 4 or 5 days, but then they can't get their team to duplicate because they're not an effective leader. Again, they hit level 3, but not level 4, and it completely ruined their organization. They were producing results, but they couldn't get their team to do it, and their team completely fell apart. Again, I've seen people try to buy out, people's teams. They try to buy positions under people. Network marketing seems great. They're building a good team. They have some momentum going, but they're not duplicating. And again, they're not making the difference. They're not impacting people's lives. So unless you're willing to commit, years of your life to studying, to reading books, this is another fantastic book. Yeah, you don't need a title to be a leader. Again, unless you're willing to devote, your life to changing others' lives, then you're going to be average. Earl Nightingale said it best in his book, The Strangest Secret. He says, conformity is our greatest downfall. And he says the reason is because we conform like the wrong people. 95% of the people out there are living very average lives. They're making, I think the threshold to be in the top 5% is $250,000 a year in net income. So, I'm sorry, 70,000, I think. And 250,000 puts you in the top 1% in America, anyways. So, he says that 95% of the people out there conform like the wrong percent. And I can't say why that is. I made my decision a long time ago not to follow that route. I've made the decision to, be like the top 5%, like the top 1%, like the top 0.5%. And you know, it just, your mindset will play a huge role in it. Because let me tell you, if you think that you can just, you know, get results and that's going to be that, you know, and life is going to be easy, you know, again, I've seen organizations fall out of nowhere. You know, you have to be in it for the long haul. You have to be prepared for, you know, long-term success. You got to be reading every single day. You have to be, you know, studying your material, be well-rounded, you know, be knowledgeable on everything, not just leadership, not just, not just any one particular topic. You know, another great book here is Onward by, it's written by the CEO of Howard Schultz. It's all about how he preserved the culture of Starbucks, you know, but it's a fantastic book because it tells all about, you know, the life of the CEO, you know, how to preserve the culture in your company. You know, culture is huge, you know, especially for leadership. Me, anytime I'm working in a company, you know, one of the number one things that I try to enforce is good culture on our team, because I want it to be, you know, I want it to be our team culture. You know, I don't want it to be like another job. You know, I don't want us to be like everyone else. I want us to be us. You know, so that's a huge thing that I promote. And I personally, you know, have found that to be a really effective thing, is thinking about what other people want. You know, don't just do something because that's what you think is right. You know, being a leader is all about making choices. It's all about making decisions. Um, I was reading an article on Entrepreneur Magazine, and, you know, they were saying that it's a fine line between, you know, what's right and what's wrong, because there are times when you, as a leader, you know, maybe you're the CEO of an organization, or maybe you're just starting out your journey, you know, and this is something they're going to run into in the future. But and this is something I've run into in every single organization, whether it was in scouting when I was the leader in my Boy Scout troop, or whether it was in one of my companies that I worked with. But being a leader, you're going to have to make tough choices. You're going to have to make choices that might be popular, might not be. You know, you're going to have to do things that might be politically correct as opposed to what you want to do. So make sure that you're, you know, well versed on just various topics, you know, and that's where you start getting to level 5 leadership. You know, your job is to work yourself out of your job, you know, and think about that. You know, I always say it's my job to get you to pass me, you know, and that's a great thing. You know, I love when people start making more money than me, once people start, you know, exceeding what I'm doing, because then that means that I've led them effectively, you know. So make sure that, you know, you try to work yourself out of whatever your position you're in. You know, if you are working a full-time job and you are making, you know, $1,200 a month, you know, do whatever it's going to take to start making $1,500 a month. You know, think about what it would take to make an extra $100 a month. You know, let's start with that. You know, when I first started, you know, working on earning my residual income, my passive income, that was a huge thing for me, because a lot of people were like, well, you're only making $100 a month. You know, that's nothing. $100 a month. Well, that was $100 I didn't have before. And the important thing was that, you know, instead of me looking at it like, oh, I'm only earning $100, because that's how everyone else looks at it. You know, everyone else will look at it, you know, if you join a company and your first month you earn $100 and they say, I'm not joining that, you only earned $100. Well, your second month, if you earn $200, and your third month you earn, you know, $500, and your fourth month you earn $600. Well, that's $600, you know, 4 months later that you weren't making before. So what does it show? It shows progress. It shows results. And again, you know, moving up the levels of leadership here, you know, that's what gets people's attention. You know, $100 a month, not a big deal. But what happens a year, 2 years from now, with whatever venture you're doing, when you start earning $1,000, $2,000, you know, multiple thousands of dollars a month, that catches people's attention. So it's all about progress. It's all about results, and it's about not giving up in what you're doing. Because, you know, it's so easy to succumb to, you know, oh, the bird, or as Earl Nightingale says in The Strangest Secret, you know, the birds, you know, people, or Jim Rohn often says, you know, there's the birds, you know, some people just get lost to the birds. You're going to wonder, why did that happen? Can't say, you know, but it happens. You know, people get lost to the noise, the background noise of life. And it's a sad thing, you know, it's sad to see, it's sad to hear, but, you know, it's important that you just keep moving on. You know, I always try to make a point never to let business ruin my friendships. You know, I may not hang out with people, you know, because they may not align with my views anymore, You know, some of my old friends, I don't necessarily hang out with them anymore because they just, you know, they made decisions to live very different lives. But, you know, it's important that you know where you're going and you stick with that and you work hard at it, because the law of attraction, a lot of people think the law of attraction is, if I think that it happens, you know, if I think I'm going to drive a BMW, I will. It's not about that. It's about, if you think you will drive a BMW, and you work hard to drive to get that BMW, and you do what it takes to earn that BMW, then you will drive a BMW. But you have to work hard. You have to read. You know, Ty Lopez often says, the more you learn, the more you earn. And, you know, to me, that's a huge thing that I've learned is, you know, the more you learn, the more you earn, not just in wealth, not just in money, but in your health, you know, in your wealth, you know, your love life will increase. You know, Grant Cardone, all about, you know, not just 10x your business, but 10x your love life, your marriage. You know, don't just look for the money, but look for an extraordinary life. You know, look to live a great life. And a great life to you may not be a great life to me personally. You know, my dream car isn't a Ferrari. I'm not going to say what it is, but it's not a Ferrari. You know, it's not a Porsche. It's not a Lamborghini. You know, that's not, you know, that's not what I'm about. Warren Buffett, you know, world's third richest man, and he's been driving the same car for, you know, pretty much his entire life. He's had the same house. You know, he doesn't want more houses, not because he can't afford them, but because he says he just doesn't want them because it would be headache for him. So, you know, whatever it is that the good life means to you, because the good life to Warren Buffett, not necessarily good life to me. You know, the good life to you, not necessarily the same as my good life. You know, but whatever it is that your good life is, make sure that you work to earn it. You know, you're going to have to work hard. You're going to have to be a leader. You know, leadership is the number one skill that you can have, because if you possess leadership, you can do anything and you can get other people to help you do those, you know, achieve your goals. So, you know, love for leadership, you know, level 1 is position, level 2, permission, level 3 is production, you know, it's based on results. Level 4 is people development. You're making a change in people's lives. But level 5 is the level that, again, a lot of people pretty much never hit it. And, you know, this is where your leadership, you know, extends beyond your reach. You know, this is where it's based on reputation and results. And I personally would say that over the course of the years, this has been a little easier to achieve just because of, you know, as YouTube, Facebook, you know, as social media has increased, our resources for extending beyond our reach have become a lot easier. You know, just like you're watching this YouTube video now, 10, 15 years ago, YouTube wasn't around to watch, you know, YouTube videos all day. You know, my leadership wasn't able to extend to you. You know, in the good old days, if you wanted to get your good source of leadership, you bought a book and you went to a conference, and, you know, you paid and you'd see Tony Robbins on stage. But, you know, now it's a lot more practical to, you know, watch YouTube videos, to enroll in mentorship programs. You know, you can find some great, you know, I have our mentorship program, the 6-Pack Success Program is our personal mentorship program. Ty Lopez, he has the 67 Steps program, which is great. Grant Cardone, you know, King of Sales, he has some fantastic programs. So there's a ton of mentorship programs out there, and it's so easy now, just more than ever, to change your life. So level 5 leader, again, that's where you're moving beyond your reach. That's where, you know, your leadership transcends you. And this is where you've created other leaders. You haven't just changed other people's lives, but you've created other leaders who are now going out and they're creating other leaders. So think about that. You know, it's not just about you. It's not just about them, but it's about the people that you've led changing other people's lives. And just to make a little point here, you know, that's what our 6-Pack Success Program is all about. You know, we want to be able to effectively take anyone and help you guys build your business, build your leadership, build your finances from the ground up, whether you have $20 in your pocket or $20,000 in your bank account. You know, our goal is to help you become a more effective leader and help you not only change your life, because it's not about you, but it's about what you can do for other people. So it's all about helping you with our duplicatable method, changing other people's lives. But again, you know, level 5 leader, it's all about respect. It's about, you know, if you're walking down the street and someone sees you, you know, what are they going to think? You know, if they recognize you, are they going to see you as, you know, there's all this controversy about, you know, Bruce Jenner and everything going on with that. And I'll say my opinion on that. But, you know, are people going to have all these controversial thoughts, or are people going to look at you and they're going to see you as, you know, a leader, as someone who's doing good in the world, someone who's changing people's lives? You know, are you making vines of twerking, or are you, you know, sitting here reading books, you know, reviewing them? So think about how you want other people to look about you. You know, what's the first thing that people say when they think about you? Is it, wow, that kid's going to go far? Wow, he's working hard. Or is it, that kid's a little bitch? You know, what is it that people think about you? Or maybe not kid, but, you know, what is it that people think about you? Are they thinking good things, or are they thinking, you know, he's average? You know, you're going to your job, you're being average. You know, where do you want to be? And I can't answer that for you, but wherever it is, make sure, you know, again, grow your knowledge, and the more you learn, the more you earn. So thanks for joining us for this fireside chat, guys. We'll be seeing you guys next time.